I think you should think about going away for a couple of days and go to a live event. Hey, it's Scott B. Booth, the Business on Purpose podcast. It's time to be liberated from the chaos of working in your business. That's what drives us every day, is the hope, the possibility that you, a hero, a small business owner, even though you're in the throes of the fires, that you can be liberated from that and that you can build a business that you own rather than a business that owns you, but not just for consumption purposes, but because you'll have an opportunity to serve loads of people. And that's a great privilege. Just having a client who's coming back and returning from a conference, and he was so enthusiastic upon his return, and I really was moved by it, by his enthusiasm. And as we were talking, I realized there are a couple of real values that come from going away to a live conference, to a seminar, to something to where you're going to be put into a position of growth and learning. And so I thought I would talk about a couple of the benefits of a conference, any conference. It could be whatever you want. In fact, locally, we'll be having our next 12-week plan live workshop on Thursday, September the 20th. And it's an opportunity. It's only about 2.5 hours, but it's with your team. And locally, it's an opportunity for you to be able to position yourself. And this is kind of point number one. When you go away to a live event, go away to a conference, seminar, something like that, you position yourself for perspective. You position yourself for perspective. And the reason you position yourself in such a way is because you are surrounded by people who see things differently than you are. And the way the reason they see them differently than you are is because they're not you. And so by virtue, they're going to see things from an angle, from a perspective, from a trajectory that you may not be able to see them from. And that's a powerful opportunity to be able to do. And a lot of times conferences, live events are worth the price of admission just to be surrounded by those sorts of people. Not even because of the speakers, the materials, or the food or anything like that. In fact, I want to challenge you to, instead of looking at the value of a conference being in the speakers and the venue and things like that, start to change your perspective that the value of a conference is in the change of perspective and being surrounded by people who are simply not you. They're simply different than you are. Now, of course, that brings us to the second benefit is you're going to have usually experts at conferences, live events. And so you're going to get to hear from people who position themselves as a researcher. So hopefully they're bringing new ideas, new concepts. And so you're going to get those new ideas, new concepts, new insights just because you're positioned with somebody who has devoted themselves to relentless learning and expertise. And so many times a conference can have that values. It's a collective of people who have got powerful expertise and insight and professionalism, quite frankly, and a depth of research that you don't have time for. And so there's real value in that. And this is beyond, by the way, any of you who need to have continuing education credits or those sorts of things. This is beyond that. This is value beyond just the widgets and the digits, as they say in those professional credit hours that you might get. The third thing that you get is you get one-on-one relationships with people who you've probably not met before. And that's a real benefit because you can have in the hallway conversations. Now, if you talk to my buddy Aaron Walker, Matt Miller, they will tell you outright that they spend a minimal amount of time in the presentation halls and they maximize their time out in the common hallways. That's right. So I was recently at Social Media Marketing World with Aaron and Matt. I was recently at PodFest with Aaron and Matt. Some of you might say, well, PodFest, I guess I get because you do a podcast, but Social Media Marketing World, why are you there? Because some of the brightest minds in the online world are at Social Media Marketing World. I'm not necessarily pushing it or not pushing it. It was a great conference. And so if you want to go to a place like that, it's usually, I believe, in March or April or February or something like that. Just Google Social Media Marketing World, but you're surrounded by these titans of online footprints, which is really powerful. And so you get to just mingle the hallways. And so I heard a speaker And I did that creepy, kind of behind the scene things after the speaker was done, and had a chance just to engage with the speaker to be able to gain additional insight based on the talk that they gave. And so you're rubbing shoulders. The best conferences really push their speakers to just roam the hallways instead of isolating them in green rooms and, kind of the fancy old school mindset of putting these guys in a green room and just letting them sit there. The best conferences are conferences where they ask their speakers to also be participants in the conference. And so you can kind of rub shoulders, and those speakers know it going in. It's going to be a tiring, exhausting time, but it's going to be a valuable time. And so that's another massive, massive benefit. The fourth benefit is one that we often overlook, and that is the ability to be able to come back from a conference and share third-party ideas with your team. Because when you share your ideas with the team, they might just roll their eyes. But when you share third-party ideas based on concepts, quotes, insights, all of a sudden there is a legitimacy bred in third-party ideas. And so it brings you a greater level of legitimacy in bringing those ideas back in the implementation or the potential implementation of those ideas. Now, that also leads us to the one big takeaway from a live event, a conference, is you really want to be looking for one big thing, following the premise of Gary Keller's book, The One Thing. You want to be thinking, what's one thing? What's one thing from this conference with all the details, with all the talks, with all the insights, the perspectives, with the uniquenesses, the concepts? What's the one thing that I can bring back and implement? You make that a part of your 12-week plan, and you review it every single day, and you become relentless about it. What a powerful, powerful idea. Hey, if you want to join us, it's going to be Thursday, September the 20th, right here in Bluffton, South Carolina, in the low country of South Carolina. We've got a great live event. Jesse Cole, the owner of Fans First Entertainment and the infamous Savannah Bananas, just Google it, will be our featured speaker this go round. And we're going to have a great time. And of course, bring your team, because with your team, they'll be able to work with you to build out your 12-week plan. We will have a great time. We've kind of got the entire BOP ecosystem on this cycle. So the entire family, the BOP family, is going to be there with their teams to build out their 12-week plans. And we will see you right here next time on the Business on Purpose podcast.